Hey guys, this is Crystal, and over the last 2 years, I have managed to successfully complete and accomplish all of my New Year's resolutions, which is not something that I ever could have said about the years prior to those. I have been historically really, really terrible at getting those things done, and I think most of us are. So, since I found something that's working for me, I just wanted to share that with you, and I hope that it helps somebody. But sort of a turning point for me, I think, was just the frustration that I was experiencing with myself, just always trying and always pushing forward, and nothing was really working out. And you start to get down on yourself. You start to feel bad about yourself when you have all of these things that you want to do. And in your mind, when you write these things down, you feel great. You're like, you know what? That version of me that I'm seeing on the other side of these goals is so much cooler than the version of me that I have now. So let's do this. And you don't do it. And you feel like you're just stuck. So um, there are a few things that I require now before any resolution or goal makes it on my list of resolutions or goals. And that's what I want to share with you because it's really helped me a ton. I think it'll help you too. But the first rule or requirement before a New Year's resolution or goal can become a New Year's resolution or goal that I actually write down, that I actually plan on, that I actually expect, is that I can only pick two. That's the first rule. Now, when there's so much to accomplish and there's so much that you want to do, you might ask yourself, why would you only pick two? Like, there's 12 months in a year, 24 hours a day, 365 days, and we just get all hyped up and we think, oh man, like I can do so much if I just focus and I just buckle down. But we have to think about holidays, we have to think about sick days, we have to think about time out because you're eventually going to experience burnout. The absolute best of us experience that. So there's time off for burnout, and then weekends, serving other people, putting your time into other individuals, focusing on things outside of your other goals, unless helping other people is your goal. But regardless, there are things that will happen throughout your life because life is life. Life happens. And so if you load your plate with a bunch of different goals, you're already going to be doomed to fail at something, and there's no reason to set yourself up for that kind of failure. That doesn't mean that you can't aim high, and we should all aim high. But the other thing here is that for every goal or resolution that you make, it's never just that goal or resolution, okay? If I make a goal, for example, of going to the gym every day or going to the gym consistently or whatever it is that you decide, which was one of my New Year's resolutions this past year in 2020, there's so many other things that have to happen in order for that to happen. I have to be able to get up on time. I have to make sure that I'm eating enough so that I actually have the energy to do that. My meal prep's got to be on point. I've got to be drinking enough water. I have to make sure that those around me are aware of this goal, and so that they're not constantly trying to invite me and to do other things at my during my gym time or whatever it is. There's social aspects involved too. And so for me, when I look at this resolution at the beginning of the year, I might think, oh, this is so easy. I'm just going to get up at 7:30 every day, and I'm going to be at the gym by 7:45, and I'm going to work out, and it never really plays out that way. So for every goal or resolution that you create, there's all of these sub-tasks that have to be accomplished. Now, for one goal alone, how many subtasks did we just mention? Which, by the way, if you have to get up early, you also have to go to bed on time. So task 1, go to bed on time. Task 2, get up on time. Task 3, drink enough water. Task 4, eat enough food. Task 5, make sure that my gym clothes are clean and that I have enough of those, and on and on and on and on and on it goes. And so when you have 10 or 15 or 20 things on your list that you want to accomplish, suddenly you can have 10 or 20 subtasks per item, and we're no longer looking at 5 to 10 resolutions. We're looking at thousands of things, and thousands might sound like an exaggeration, but as life starts to happen, that's the reality. You can actually have 10 things with 100 attached subtasks, and for each of those subtasks, the daily decisions that you have to make and get into alignment can easily multiply into 1,000 or 2,000 things that you're now juggling, either at a conscious or a subconscious level. And so going above 2 resolutions or goals, you're going to struggle, especially if you're new to this, especially if you're not super, super honed in on your productivity tactics, this is something that could be a problem for you. And so, rule number one, only pick two. The second rule that I put on myself when I'm deciding what makes it onto my list of goals and resolutions is that it has to be something that is going to immediately impact my life. Okay, for me, working out last year was something that I needed. I needed stability. I wanted to feel healthier. I wanted to look better. I wanted to feel better about myself. I wanted to be stronger. I wanted to have more confidence. And all of those things are things that were going to impact me immediately. Now, there's a time and place to build foundations. There's a time and place to think really, really, really far ahead. But if all of your goals are centered around the life that you want to have in 5 to 10 years, that's not bad, but it's also not super motivating and it's not super easy to manage. Now, obviously, if something is good and positive, it is naturally going to benefit you 5 and 10 years down the road. So that's not something that we have to really worry about a ton. But an example for this, going back to the fitness thing, if I work out for a week, I am going to feel that. Whether that's because my muscles are sore or I'm starting to feel my blood flowing and I have more energy, whatever it is, working out today is going to impact me today. Okay? Drinking enough water today is going to impact me today. So it's really important that the resolutions that you set have to do with the here and now, that we're not living so far in the future, that we're not taking care of ourselves right where we are. Okay? That we're not experiencing success right where we are. It's great to plan for the future, but when you're trying to see traction in your life and you're trying to actually keep up with goals, it's important to pick things that are going to impact you immediately. And the cool thing is you'll find that when you do select things that are impacting you today, you are happier now. You're not pushing your happiness off for 5 or 10 years or something crazy like that. And goals and resolutions, ultimately, they should be things that are bringing us joy and making us happier. So that's my second rule. The third rule and the third thing that must be in place before something is allowed to make it on my list is that it has to be quantifiable with daily visible steps. So what does that mean? When I say that something has to be quantifiable, what that means is that I can actually measure it, that I can set expectations of when certain things are going to be done. If you have really, really vague goals that don't really have a start, they don't really have an end, you can find yourself feeling really lost somewhere in the middle and asking yourself, am I really getting traction here? Okay, when we're doing fitness, we're encouraged all the time to take photos, take your before and after, because what happens is our brains adjust as we go, and you might look drastically different and have no clue because every single day your brain is adjusting. And this doesn't just happen with visual things. This happens with personality traits. This happens with habits. Anything that you're seeing change on a micro level, your brain will adjust to, and you won't see the big results, okay? So if you are not picking things that are quantifiable, you get lost really fast, you can get discouraged really fast, and ultimately you'll end up quitting. So when we go back to fitness again, for me, a quantifiable goal might be, I want to attend the gym 20 times in the next 30 days or 20 times this month, which is 5 days a week, and that allows me to say, I did it today, I'm doing it tomorrow, I'm doing it the day after, and every single day we have something that is small and achievable and attainable. That doesn't mean I'm telling myself, I am going to perfectly drink enough water every time. I'm going to perfectly eat enough food every time. I am going to have the best workout in the world every single time, and I am going to kill it. We can aim for these things. These are targets that we can have, but as long as you go, okay, it's more important that you go and get at least a 10-15 minute workout in than that you don't go at all. And last year, even though I did maintain that year of consistency, that doesn't mean I never, ever didn't go. There were a couple times I had a couple family emergencies and work emergencies and things that just came up out of nowhere, and I had to take care of them in that moment. But because I was focused on the daily actions, the consistency always was there, and I was able to bounce right back. And so if you can't see that, if you can't get a piece of paper and write down what those daily steps are, then it's probably not something that should be on your resolution list. There's an example. I use this one all the time. A lot of you haven't heard it, because this video isn't specifically for my clients within my own company, within my own business, but one that I use with my clients a lot is that if two people have a goal of eventually traveling to a specific town or a specific city, and one of them just writes it down and there's no daily action involved, and they're just like, by the end of the year, I would like to visit this city, but then the other person says, you know what, I don't know exactly what day I'm going to get to this city, but what I do know is that every single day I am going to walk a mile in the direction of the city. Who is more likely to get there and who feels like they're moving towards their goal, okay? It's going to be the person who is walking a mile every single day. This is who everyone is going to put their money on. This other person over here who just wrote it down and left it vague may or may not ever go there because they're not going to see the progress. It's going to make them want to put one step in front of the other. And on top of that, other things are going to get in the way because they don't have the daily actions established. So for me, if I cannot attach daily action to a goal, it does not make it on my resolution list. It's not allowed to be there. I have to pick something else, okay? The fourth rule is that your resolution is centered around daily actions that cause you to become something rather than just to get something, okay? This one is so important because we may think we're going to get something in 30 days. We may think we're going to get something in 90 days. But what if we don't? What if life just doesn't happen the way that we expect it to happen? If all of our energy is focused on results, okay, we call those lagging indicators, then we are going to get discouraged kind of all the time. Like it can be pretty bad. But when you're focused on becoming something and the thing that you get doesn't happen in the timeline that you want, you can still experience joy and satisfaction for who you have become because of your effort to try to get the thing, okay? So for me, like let's say that I was weightlifting competitively because this was something that I was looking into for a while, something that I was training for, ended up not working out the way that I wanted it to, okay? What if during all of my efforts to grow and compete and become more fit, I didn't win a medal, or I didn't even get to go to the competition, or I didn't even make it past qualifiers, okay? I would probably be really, really, really bummed out. But if my efforts were, I am trying to become a healthier, more fit person, even if I don't win, even if I don't qualify, whatever it is, if none of those things happen and I didn't get those things, I could still look at myself and say, you know what, I am that kind of person, though, who could aim for those things. I am that kind of person who goes to the gym. I am that kind of person who stays healthy. I am that kind of person. I'm a strong person. I'm a healthy person. And I could have joy in experiencing the change that came as a result of trying to achieve. Okay? So the goals have to be focused on daily actions to become rather than daily actions to get. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have goals to get things. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with aiming high, and you should aim high. And you can have goals, but when it comes to New Year's resolutions, these are my rules for those. Anything else about getting a specific result or something, this is stuff that I plan for throughout the year. This is stuff that I shoot for throughout the year. These things are allowed to evolve and change, but who I want to become, this is not negotiable, okay? If I want to become a healthier, happier, kinder, stronger person, that is not a negotiable circumstance. And the joy that I will experience as I achieve that will be far greater than the joy I would experience if I were to just get things. So I hope that this helps you guys. I hope that if any of you have been struggling to make your goals or resolutions, or you've been experiencing what I experienced before, that feeling of, man, like I can't live up to anything. I have all of these things I want to do and nothing gets done, and how does this keep happening to me, and why am I so terrible? You know, if you've been there, try this. Look at your goals if you've already made them and see if it meets these 4 rules that I've got typed out here on my computer. If they don't, maybe try adjusting them and just see if it works for you, okay? But I love all of you. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch this, and I really do hope it helps you. If it does, leave me a comment. The feedback really means a lot, and I'd be happy to make more videos like this if it does. But again, I appreciate you guys. Have a great year. Make some solid resolutions.